Kaiju fans, GojiFan93 here, and welcome to another Kaiju discussion. In this one, we will be discussing the Godzilla Millennium series, so from 1999 to 2004. So this series, I really actually don't have a lot to complain about this series, actually. When I look back on the series, I feel like it was really well done. I mean, all the movies I can pretty much rewatch again and again, but a little bit of backstory on it. So pretty much, 1995 rolled around, Godzilla vs. Destroya came out, and that was supposed to be it. Toho was like, we're done making Godzilla films. We're done. And then we decided to come around and make Godzilla 1998, and well, it didn't do well, so everyone's like, oh god, and now Toho's like, well great, now we have to make a new movie to to show everybody that that's not Godzilla, this is Godzilla. So then we got Godzilla 2000, which originally came out in 1999. When I was little, I was like really confused when I found out that this movie was 1999 and that Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, because I thought for the longest time that Godzilla vs. Megaguirus was 2001, and then GMK 2002, just kind of, and then like Final Wars was 2005. But in a way, I wasn't wrong, because those are the years that the English versions came out. But the original versions, Godzilla 2000 was 1999. In Godzilla 2000, I remember actually seeing this movie in theaters. Like, I vividly remember watching this movie. I remember, because I did go to see Godzilla 1998 when it came out in theaters, but I don't remember much of it. But man, do I remember seeing the trailer for the American cut of Godzilla 2000. I freaked out. I mean, let's see, that was 1999, so I mean, I wasn't even in first grade when Godzilla 2000 came around, but I still remember it, and I was super excited to see it. And I went to go see it, and it was awesome, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what Godzilla is. And the one thing about Godzilla 2000 though is the production value is a little bit, it hasn't aged well, and I think that's because, one, the film was probably rushed to get it out there so that, American audiences could see what Godzilla really was. And this was also the first Godzilla film that kind of utilized CGI. Every Godzilla film before this, the Showa series and the Heisei, barely had CGI. The only special effect, like CGI computer generated stuff, was the beam effects and all that, but the explosions, the sparks, those were physically on the sets, all that stuff there. In this one, they started to utilize, when they showed jets, they started to have those as 3D models. There's some camera angles where the helicopters are flying down, and those are, you can really tell that those are CGI. And then my biggest problem with Godzilla 2000 is the backdrops. A lot of the scenery was filmed on a blue screen. If you guys look at the behind the scenes of Godzilla 2000, they show the sets are just a green screen in the background. Like there's no more, like they did build sets, but it was a lot more green screen effects than like the blue sky backgrounds that they would always use on the sets. But this one, you could really tell, because there are some shots, like I remember one shot in Godzilla 2000 where the camera's moving backwards and Godzilla's walking towards the camera, and then you can see Godzilla's not really moving. It's like this weird look between Godzilla being actually there, and then there's like this CGI area around him that's just not moving correctly, and it just looks weird. It does not look natural at all. And then there are some parts when Godzilla, like explosions happen, and like Godzilla gets hit with like missiles or something, and those are CGI. But besides the physical effects though, Godzilla 2000 I feel was a magnificent film. I feel like it definitely brought Godzilla back to being what he was. Now, I'm not going to say Godzilla 2000 was as dark as 1984 or 1954, because this is one of the reboot films, also being a sequel to 1954. But I feel like this one, it kind of had a Heisei vibe to it, where Godzilla was somewhat of an anti-hero because of Orga showing it. And once again, we get an original monster, which is really cool. I love how they didn't bring back a character from the Heisei or show and they brought him into here. I love how they made a new character, and Orga is just freaking awesome. I love Orga. So, Godzilla 2000 overall I think was really good. And then they moved into Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, which that was Godzilla 2000 for Japan, but for us it was 2001. But Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, this was the film that I feel like Toho, this is what the Millennium series looks like when it comes to quality. The CGI was a little bit more improved. The film just looked way better than Godzilla 2000, especially if you guys watched it on the Blu-ray versions that just came out. It looks amazing. Even on the original DVD release of the 50th anniversary DVDs, even Godzilla vs. Megaguirus looks good on that, and that's just standard DVD. So Godzilla vs. Megaguirus is a really good looking film, and this is where the rest of the series looks really, really good. Godzilla 2000 is kind of the one that kind of sticks out, and Final Wars, and I'll get to Final Wars on its quality when I get to that. But Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, probably my least favorite in the in the Millennium series because of the because of Megaguirus. I'm not a big fan of Megaguirus. Never really have. I just have this thing with flying monsters, I guess, that I'm just not a big fan of. But the story in it, the characters in it, the music in it, I think is phenomenal. Now, I don't remember who the composer's name was, but this is a female composer, and I'll probably put her name right here so I can get her some credit. But she basically is like the next generation of Akira Ifukube, because Akira Ifukube did not do any music for the Millennium series, sadly, because he passed away before the Millennium series came about. I think he didn't. Well, no, actually, he didn't pass away. I think before the Millennium series. If I did, I don't know if I got this wrong. I remember I think it was a little bit after Final Wars. I think that he passed away. I don't remember. I'll put some kind of like words or something saying that when he actually passed away. But he did not compose any music for the Millennium series. Any Millennium film he was not a part of when it came to music, except for like the theme of Godzilla and all that stuff, but that was kind of like remastered and all that. So no new music from him, but this female composer, she did a phenomenal job on Megaguirus, and her music she was once again came back when it was Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Tokyo SOS, that her music got brought back, and it was the same kind of theme, but it was kind of changed up a little bit. And then GMK came around, and oh my god, I mean GMK. Now the music for GMK was more techno-ish. It was a little bit more electronic than traditional orchestra kind of music, which I still loved it. I still think it sounded awesome. And GMK just in general was, that film is the best film in the Millennium series. I know a lot of people might say, oh, it's overrated. Well, there's a reason why it's overrated, guys. GMK is just, oh my god, it's my second favorite Godzilla film. If it wasn't for 1984, GMK would be my all-time favorite Godzilla film. Also, something that I have to say with the Millennium series is that every film, pretty much, in this series is a reboot from the first film. So, once again, we have this thing where, Godzilla 2000 came out, let's say, and, it was a sequel to 1954. Everything in the middle, the Showa and the Heisei, never happened. So every film that the Millennium... And this is what was so weird about the Millennium series. It was the most disjointed series, because every film was a new thing. And fans have tried to speculate that they've tried to connect them. I've tried to figure out ways that the Millennium series can be connected. Like, I've always said to myself that I feel like Godzilla 2000, Megaguirus against Mechagodzilla, and Tokyo SOS, those can be connected because Godzilla looks similar in all those ones, and I just feel like those can all work together. But it's GMK and Final Wars that are the ones that stick out, that I don't feel can fit with the rest of those movies. But anyways, so that's just a little side note for those people who don't know. So every movie that comes out, it's another reboot. So it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know why they decided to do that. Which, I guess it's all right, because every Godzilla film has its own contained story. But then you don't get connected to any of the characters because they keep on, they're gone. There's no reoccurring cast like it was in the Heisei series, or even sometimes in the Showa series. But one thing though, when it came to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Tokyo SOS, those were the only two films that were together right after another. Like, Tokyo SOS was a direct sequel to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, and I love the story arc between these two films. I feel like these two are the most finest Godzilla films ever made because the monster action is really great, the human character story is amazing, the music is awesome, the special effects are the best in the series. But the although the one thing that I don't like about Tokyo SOS is that the final battle in Tokyo SOS was a little bit more boring compared to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla's battle. And the reason I say that is because the thing I love about Godzilla against Mechagodzilla is that this is the first time and I think I've mentioned this before, but this is the first time we've ever got to see Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fight just them. Every other Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla movie, there's always been some other monster. King Caesar interrupting their battle, Titanosaurus joining up with Mechagodzilla, and then in Mechagodzilla 2, we have Rodan coming in. So this is the first film that actually was just Godzilla with Mechagodzilla, and it was perfect because they were able to focus on those two characters. Also, Mechagodzilla's name in the Millennium series, Mechagodzilla 3, is dubbed Kiryu in the movie, and I like the name Kiryu. I think it stands for Mechanical Dragon, and I just think it's a cool name, Kiryu. I mean, it really defines the character. I think that's why Kiryu just has much of a different character than the other Mechagodzillas because of just what it is. Also, the fact that he's the original bones of the original Godzilla. Basically what they did is that they took the bones from the original Godzilla and they took it and made it into Mechagodzilla. And it's like, whoa, okay then. And that's what's cool because it really gives the character dynamic because there's still a little bit of Godzilla's DNA or some past, he's still, it's like a cyborg pretty much. So that, the organic side of Godzilla is still in that robot somewhere. And then in the movie, they show that because when the new Godzilla, the one that he fights, when Godzilla does a roar, it kind of triggers Godzilla, the original Godzilla's like, oh, hey, I remember where I am or something like, it's science, yeah, and then Kiryu just goes on a rampage, just destroying everything, and that was awesome. I love that scene. Like, his eyes go red, and it's just like, I loved it. So yeah, we have all that, and then Tokyo SOS comes out, and and then of course Mothra has to butt into Tokyo SOS, and I'm like, come on, because I feel like Tokyo SOS would have been such a better film if Mothra was not in it. I'm sorry, Mothra fans, but that's just me. I feel like Mothra just needs to stop butting into all of Godzilla's movies. It's ridiculous, So yeah, because there was a whole story thing about Mothra saying like, oh, you can't disturb the bones of the dead, and I get the message behind the movie is good. It is a good message, but Mothra, why? Just go away. So yeah, after Tokyo S comes out, then we have the 50th anniversary film, the heavily controversial split down the middle between the fan base, Godzilla Final Wars. You either love it or you hate it, and I'm on the side of loving it, even though I do have my gripes with it. You guys know I'm not going to go through a detail on this film because I've already done a Kaiju discussion with Rich Iso if you guys want to watch that, and I've reviewed the film 2 times, so you guys can go watch those videos to get my opinions on that film. But Godzilla Final Wars, now I was going to talk about the special effects with Godzilla Final Wars. This film definitely took a step back when it came to production quality. I mean, you had Tokyo SOS, which was the finest looking Godzilla film, and then you go to Final Wars, and it's like, the film looks like it was made in the 90s. Like, I don't know what happened to their budget or anything like that. Even though that they said that this was the most expensive Godzilla movie, I don't know what happened, because, they took all the monsters from the show series, they put them all in one movie, but it was kind of supposed to be a remake of Destroy All Monsters, which I can kind of see that, but then it also has some differences. It's not exactly like Destroy All Monsters, but I can see how people compare them. I mean, I compare them a lot, but I don't know. But the Exilians, I mean, the thing is I wasn't a big fan of the Showa Exilians, just because they were boring, bland, the monotone voice, the robotic acting that those characters had, and their outfits were just, even for the 60s, it was pretty dumb looking. Sorry Showa fans, but that's just, me. But then we have the Matrixy looking, Exilians, which, don't get me wrong, guys, it's really dumb. The new Exilians that were in Final War, they are dumb, okay? They're silly, it's cheesy, but here's the thing, I love it. I don't know why, it's just, it's just those characters were just so awesome. And you guys know that my favorite villain of all time in Godzilla is the ex-commander of the Exilians. I mean, that guy just, I cannot get enough of him. Like, every time he's on screen, I just love watching it. Like, oh man. So yeah, that character is just awesome. I cannot, nothing, he did no wrong in that film. Like, I loved everything about him. So yeah, but I mean, overall, the Millennium series, there's not a lot I don't like about it. I feel like it's a good mixture of the Showa and Heisei, because you had the Showa, which had, crazy storylines, all these different ways to kill Godzilla, there were these different scenarios and all that stuff, but it wasn't really grounded. But then you had the Heisei series, which was completely opposite. Very grounded, very serious tone. There weren't a lot of crazy storylines, except for like maybe King Ghidorah with the whole time travel thing. But then you had the Millennium series, which I feel just took both of the best of the both of the Showa and Heisei and mixed it into one, because you had crazy storylines with cool ways to kill Godzilla, like the absolute zero cannon from Mechagodzilla that freezes stuff, or the black hole thing that was made from in Megaguirus. But then you had the grounded, serious tone from the Heisei movies with the character storylines, the character relations with Godzilla and stuff like that, and Godzilla not being a hero. In the Millennium series, Godzilla's he's definitely an anti-hero in pretty much every one of them. So I feel like it just took the best of it. And when it came to the monster fights, it felt like to me at least, it felt like some Showa battles where it was just a lot of crazy action going on, rather than just like what it was in the Heisei series, where it was just a lot of beam fighting and just like like a light show. I mean, like, especially when Godzilla fought Megaguirus, there was a lot of physical fighting. Even though I'm not a big fan of Megaguirus, that final battle I really liked, because there was a lot of physical fighting going on there, and the Millennium series brought some new WTF moments to the Godzilla series. Like in the Showa series, you had Godzilla doing the drop kick, you had him do the fly, where he flew by his breath, and the Hedorah. And then you had like him, just Godzilla being funny. Well, in the Millennium series, you had Godzilla do a complete body slam on Megaguirus, which just looks funny. And then in Godzilla Final Wars, you have Godzilla doing a lot of funny things, like playing soccer or something with Anguirus, when Anguirus is spinning around, and Godzilla's like, whoa, it's just a really funny battle. But it just felt Showa, and when it came to the battles. But then when it came to the human elements of it were very Heisei, with serious tones and really good messages and all that stuff. So I feel like it was a perfect mixture, and it was the series that I grew up with. The Heisei series, I feel like I was born into, but I didn't necessarily know about it, because I was 1993. There was only 2 more years left until the Heisei series was done, and I was still a little baby, so I didn't even know. But when Godzilla 2000 came out, I was at the age where I was consciously aware of Godzilla, and I grew up with the Millennium series. So the Millennium series is definitely my second favorite series in the whole franchise. So after talking about all the series, basically my top 3 of the Godzilla series, my number 3 is the Showa series, number 2 is Millennium, and my number 1 is Heisei. So now you guys have my opinions on all the series of Godzilla, and we'll see that the next series is potentially the Legendary series from Warner Brothers and Legendary, but then Toho is making the other one in 2016, so maybe they'll make a new series of their own, and we'll wait to see what that's going to be called. So, but yeah, so that's it for me talking about all the Godzilla series. Next up, we'll be talking about the Gamera series, so we'll start that off with the Showa series, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay big, G fans.